Hey, greetings. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm we have a new topic today. We're going to discuss the Jordan Penny verdict, and I was watching Tariq sent out an update, a little uh, thing my co-host Wani was showing me, and I was like, it kind of, I'm not going to get triggered, I promise, but it triggered me in a way because it identified. Um,
You
a,
sound scratchy.
uh-oh, can you hear me now?
It just sounds different. What are you doing different?
I'm on my laptop.
Oh, Lord.
And I got percent
Oh, laptops are terrible for this.
can't win for losing. But I can tell you what, I got some headphones, but I don't know if they're synced with my. Uh, yeah. Well, can y'all hear me now?
It just sounds very scratchy.
Jeez, I'm so disappointed in that. For a second, let's see if I can add my headphones to this right quick. This is a older. There it is. Never mind, I got it. So I guess they're syncing. Give me one moment.
Okay.
I think they're gonna sync. They're syncing.
Turn off Bluetooth. This is all this technology. I shouldn't be complaining. This is a blessing, right?
Now it sounds better.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Are you on the headphones?
Yes, I'm on my AirPods. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, that sounds way better.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Cool. All right, so yeah, we're dealing with this. So when the whole Jordan Penny incident happened, I recall uh watching the news and seeing some member of the diaspora just like kind of in a way helping Jordan Penny with that public lynching. Let's call it what it is. Yeah, do y'all? Am I hallucinating? Do y'all remember like an East African or somebody helping with that on the train, like either defending Jordan Penny and I kind of blocked
Yeah,
it out.
people were helping him.
I blocked it out because I didn't want to get triggered, and I kind of blocked that whole thing out because I have a whole lot of love in my heart for that young man. He's special needs. I have a couple titles, but at my core, I'm just a teacher. You know what I'm saying? And most teachers have a special place in their heart for special needs children. They're the sweetest group of kids, you know, and we understand how they can be abused, because they're just innocent, and to see what I just saw earlier, wanting with that dude justifying this public lynching further backs up our theory that we need to delineate from these people. I mean, when I saw the verdict, I thought about, of course, Dr. Welsing and Dr. Welsing in her chapter 11, which is a very interesting number. We call them the pillars with numerology. Dr. Welsing talks about basically the reason why black males are targeted um, in the system. And she says, quote, the importance of the dark man as a symbol of genetical and genetic adequacy in the system of white supremacy culture was the basis of crowd drawing power and significance of the two most important movie heroes in the last century in the US, Rudolph Valentino and Elvis Presley. So basically, there's this hidden subconscious competition and rivalry, this mortal combat with us. By us, I mean black males, um, and it's hidden in the language tall, dark, and handsome. What does that mean? Tall, dark, and handsome. What do you mean by that? You know, but we're going to talk more about it. Dr. Welsing identifies why black males are targeted, and it has to deal with what she calls the ball games. Now, um, Dr. Welsing one day got had Sunday off um, from practice, and she said everything was quiet. Everybody was in church. She said the music wasn't around banging, and DC back in the day used to be kind of loud. My grandmama lives in DC. I consider myself to kind of be a little bit from DC because I spent my summers there. It was loud with that go-go music. Anybody from DC knows go-go. I think it's annoying. But Dr. Welsing said it was real quiet and she could think. And she started to analyze sports. And she said, sports, ball games. Ball games. What does that mean? Ball games. And she said, holy shit. She didn't say holy shit. I'm saying holy shit. But she said there's a meaning to that. Basically, she said ball games are a part of the collective unconscious of the system of white supremacy, identifying their greatest threat to their existence, which is genetic annihilation. And she said there are two sets of ball games. There are big brown and small white. And big brown is football, basketball, big old brown ball. And she said what's the objective of basketball, the big brown? Well, in basketball, men fight over a brown ball, over the opportunity of shooting that brown ball into a white hole. Now, I'm not going to be explicit on my channel, but y'all know the symbology of a white hole, right? Y'all follow me? Well, let's go to football. That's a big brown game, right? Dr. Welsing said that's a big brown ball. And what's the objective of football? Um, the objective of football is two groups of men fight over the opportunity of shooting that big brown ball into some upside down white legs at the end of the field, either end of the field. Now, the deep Jung Jungian psychology behind that is sexual in nature, and you have to go to Freud to understand it. Freud said that Europeans are driven by two instincts: Thanatos and Eros, the death instinct, which is Thanatos, and Eros, which is the life instinct, sex. The need to procreate. We all are really, in a way, we want to procreate, although some groups procreate more than others. So basically, to boil all this madness down, this madness of killing black men down, according to Dr. Welsing, this madness comes from the threat that black men pose, given the fact that we have a higher potential of genetic annihilation just based upon our melanin content in our genes. So, how does this fit into the Jordan Penny situation? Uh, from a Welsing view, that young man was targeted because he was a brother, and he was an easy target. Our brother Tariq talks about easy targets, what we like to call soft targets. And I don't want to get triggered because I have a special part in my heart for special needs children. But he was targeted because he was special needs and he was black. So, question of the room: are members of the diaspora defending the Jordan Penny verdict? That's what I thought I saw, Wani. Please, can you pretty please tell me I'm hallucinating and I just had a long day and I'm seeing things?
Well, these types of verdicts affect us differently because we have collectively lived through a lot of verdicts. Um, when people were lynched and they would go to court, they knew who did it and they would let them scot free. So we have had a lot of horrible, corrupt judges and courtrooms go against us over the years. So we feel a certain way when a verdict goes against us, okay? Especially when it's done right in our face, like with the case that we have now, and previous cases that caused riots. When you see that someone was unfairly treated, whether they were beaten by the police viciously, like Rodney King, or whether they were killed, when you see it, and then it goes to court, and they can only see it by the color of their skin, and they pressure the minorities on the court to do what they say, we know what's going on, okay? And we've been doing this for a long time. But the African comes in here with no lineage, no long history of these types of things, and wants to just sit there and make some biased judgment based on the sucking up potential that he can get on his page, whether they believe it or not. They don't seem to have the same attitude when it's the back of their head getting blown off, like in Michigan. They don't seem to say that the police were justified. They don't say anything. And I'm not going to say anything either. I'm just going to leave them like they are. I'm not going I'm not going to advocate for them when they get killed ever. Just like when that little boy walked up to that white man's house and he shot him for no reason. Yeah, that's your guy's problem. You need to advocate for that from Liberia. Don't ask me because we have a permanent heckling session. A group of people that just sits there waiting for something to happen to us so they can heckle us from the corner, from the side pocket. Just waiting. They want us to be murdered. That's why they nicknamed us bullet bags. They want us to die. And they want the opportunity to talk about it from their ass backwards perspective. They're wrong on everything. Everything they say is upside down and wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know our lineage. They don't share our struggle. They don't share they don't know the history here in this country. And that's why I didn't even want to talk about this topic because it's too fresh. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't even want to do this topic. I don't want to go into the frustration. I want to go into what can be done about it. What can be done about it? I don't want to moan and cry about it. I'm not going to let anybody see me sweat. But this is the problem. We have this heckling section that has imported themselves here just to watch us die and point the finger and mock. And that's why I'm the way I am. And I'm going to stay that way until they're gone.
Well, I agree with you, Wani, and the this is gonna sound cold, but let me give a disclaimer. Y'all know Professor A loves everybody, and I don't want I I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't enjoy. I'm not a violent person. I'm anti-violent. But given what I witnessed today, the video, um, and Wani, could you put that video on the jumbotron? That I I think it may be beneficial if we just we kind of
She
gate.
says she doesn't want it triggered though, so that I don't think she wants to see the video.
Okay, well don't put it there. That's a good point. Like don't trigger me. No, don't trigger
Wait,
anybody.
which video? The one of the killing or the African mocking our
I
existence?
was gonna say the dude mocking our existence, but you know what?
Okay.
I'm not sure. Nikki, what do you think? That's a good idea or bad idea? Um, yeah, that might piss me off.
You know how Wani is about Africans. It's up to her,
Yeah,
but
sure, good call,
the
Wani.
other video would trigger me. The killing would.
No, I don't want to watch that. No, I don't want that on my thing. No
You
way.
know what? You know if it's going to trigger people, I'm at the point. Listen to me carefully. I'm at the point where if it's going to trigger people, let it trigger them because I'm trying to figure out what we're sitting up here talking about. I love my people. I love y'all, but I don't understand how a white man can go on the subway and choke a mentally ill black man to death, and we're just sitting here talking about it. That's all I'm going to say about it because I know better.
And
Peace, peace out, bro.
Nikki, let me tell you why. I know why. And it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing says on page 83 of her book, quote, white survival is predicated upon aggressiveness and muscle mass in the form of technology directed against non-white melanated men on the planet Earth who constitute the numerical majority. This is a game. It's a very severe game that's playing out not only in the conscious mind, but in the collective unconscious mind. What are you saying, Professor A? I'm saying that I am viewed as a black male, I am viewed as a threat. The firearm, the gun was called what? The great what? Equalizer. What does that mean? Great equalizer to what? Well, ladies and gentlemen, It was a great equalizer, according to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, to black male genetic material. And
Yes.
Dr. Welsing argued that that gun, if you hold it, and I'm not trying to be explicit, explicit. I'm a scholar. Explicitity is not my thing, but she did identify that that gun, if you hold it the right way, it looks like something else. You know what I mean? But I digress. Go ahead, Wani. Oh,
It's
you.
an it was an equalizer because if they had to deal with us, like they would get slapped up, and you don't have to kill each other to settle a fight. They would get messed up, and they know it. So they do have to have firepower because they would get slapped around, and it wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Welsing says, quote, it should be made clear that here the black male's apparatus is the most feared relative private apparatus of other non-white males because it possesses the greatest potential to produce melanin, the pigment responsible for all true skin coloration. Black males have the greatest genetic potential to annihilate the global minority. And that's why that child got killed. Is no matter how innocent that child, I'm gonna call him a child, that child was on, because he was innocent just like a child, on the
Can I
subject. Who was that? I heard somebody. Was that Nikki?
I thought so.
Yeah, you came go. But what I was gonna say is, no matter how innocent that gentleman was, he was viewed through the lens of a genetic annihilation, and thus viewed as a target. Go ahead, Nikki, and then we'll go to Robbie.
something's wrong with my mute button.
Oh
Sorry about
wow.
that. I
No,
just
you
wanted to
good.
clarify something really quick.
Come on.
In this space, we're not promoting violence of any kind, and I'm not trying to do anything off code or anything like that. When I say why are we talking, sitting here talking about it, I I mean we need to be planning on what we're going to do to better ourselves as a people. I would never promote any type of violence or harm on anyone. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, none of us in this space, we don't promote violence. This is a scholarly space, and the objectives, the educational objectives of this space is to identify the logic and reasoning behind members of the diaspora allegedly defending the Penny verdict, and trying to discover what scholarly actions can we take to further protect our black young men. Robbie, talk to us.
Two things come to mind because I had a space earlier, and it seems to me like brilliant minds, and by us being of the same lineage and having the same spiritual sentiment, to be honest with you, I'm unmoved. And I feel like black people shouldn't crash out and do what they expect us to do because they have been working for the last year and a half to try to set up something so that they'll have provocation to come down on us hard. But with that being said, what we can do is be prepared. So what I've started to do is focus on my health. I'm talking about get healthy, get strong, do some UFC training. You know what I'm saying? Do some MMM training, get used to getting hit because we're dealing with people that we can't reason with. And this is not about targeting people in police uniforms. We're talking about somebody who did a lynching, just like Derek Chauvin did. When you cut off somebody's oxygen, that's a lynching. And if you're superior, you don't need to get validation. So the fact that they're always insecure and they have to go through these trauma rituals to try to keep us in line, it's going to have the opposite effect. Like I feel like we just have to chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. You want to live your best life. We want to keep advocating reparations. There's no need to be afraid. I mean, we've been through this before. We've seen all the police shootings. We've seen all the trauma porn. So at this point, I'm more stoic to just me saying, F around and find out. That needs to be everybody's mode of apparatus. Like in the meantime, in between time, you got 18 months, get your credit together, get your health together, you know, going to the gym is love. Eating the right food is love. training, some type of combat sport is love. And if you have people you can reason with, you pick and choose your battles. But it's obvious, like, yeah, there's no way I could be on that train and watch Jordan Penny choke somebody out. I'm just going to be honest with you. He would have gotten kicked in the face. That's not me, changing the energy for the space here. That's just me speaking for myself to say that from this point moving forward, it's like we have no, in other words, we have every God given right to defend ourselves. And we're smart enough to know not to crash out. And they're just immediately start talking about Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Have y'all noticed that? And it's like everything degenerate they've tried to associate with Black people for the last year and a half. They try to make it look like we're unpatriotic. They try to make it sure like we were heading the feminist and gender divide stuff. They put us as the face of all the indictments for Trump. Then you have all this stuff with P. Diddy, now Jay-Z, and then they have this thing going on. And it's like, to me, and then this is happening simultaneously, like why Syria just got overtopped. And then Biden was able to pardon his son. So it's like, to preserve the union, they have to throw the American Negro under the bus. But what they don't understand is this lynching tactic is going to have the opposite. Like, I've already made up my mind after Trump's first term, I can become Jordan Neely. And I'm comfortable with it, meaning that just gives me more of a reason to live my life every day. And I'm not going to go out like a coward. That doesn't mean we crash out like a fool, but we cannot live in fear, and we will not live in fear. And the beautiful thing is, most of them are miserable. Don't let your white counterparts trick you into thinking that they have the perfect family with the white picket fence. They have more mental illness. They have more child like everything they complain about and accuse the deep state of, they're guilty of doing it. They're angry with their father who molested them. They're angry with their mother. They don't have a loving, nurturing environment. So at the end of the day, we're still winning. We just need for our reparations and repair as far as the economic component of it. But as far as our morality and our courage, yeah, we don't need to be triggered by this. This just means stay ready, so you don't have to get ready.
No cap. I think we're gonna go with Black Truth and then Tyrone. Go ahead, Black Truth.
Salute, family. I think brother Tyrone or Roger was ahead of me.
Oh,
I
okay.
just don't want to cut anyone.
Yeah, and let me
Uh,
know. Sometimes I'm terrible about not noticing. Go ahead, Tyrone, and then we'll come back to you, Black Truth. Thank you for letting.
Peace to the chat, peace to the FBA family.
Yes, sir.
Um, so yo, I'm from New York, so it's like I done seen people get we call it finked out or choked. You say choked out or whatever, right? Ain't no way, fam, that people will sit around. It's not even human nature for people to sit around and watch somebody get suffocated to death, including if the person does not have like a badge or they're not in some type of level of authority. What usually happens is some women come and try to break it up. They'll see it, they'll sense it before, like, okay, y'all bugging, like, all right, chill, this person might die. Like, that's the natural reaction. Usually it's like a FBA woman first. If not, it will be like a white woman or somebody's gonna start yelling, and then the man follow behind it. So um for me personally, I don't live in New York anymore, but it's really hard for me to believe that nobody sat there and did
I got dropped
anything.
from the space, Professor. I'm sorry. I got dropped from the space.
No, you're good, love. I understand it. I'm gonna give you 10 codes. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead and keep cooking.
So that's one thing. Like, so you like I've been in fights before. People from New York know, like, people don't get choked out on the train. It never happens. You feel people will walk away if they see something disturbing. They'll act like they don't see it. But something like that, as aggressive, when you experience it in person, when people actually experience that in person, they don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? That's the human reaction. So I asked, I was in another chat. I asked the brother if anybody from New York knew him or anything like that. They was like, nah, we don't really know him like that. I just have a speculation. I'm not saying what I'm saying is factual or is true, but it's a possibility. I don't know for sure, but it's a possibility that it could be staged. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right, but as far as my critical thinking skills are going, it's just not human nature, including somebody that experienced fighting in general. people could sense it. It's like a feeling to get to save somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? And for that to happen, and that person is not any type of level of authority, um, it's up for question for me. And then the second thing, you know, I'm new to Twitter, bro. Like I'm new to Twitter. I don't be on the space. I probably might watch something on YouTube. So I ended up being in a chat room with like racist people. Whoo! It was my first time for real. So I'm sitting over here listening. Yeah. And it snapped me back into reality that there's a sector of them that are completely brainwashed, completely conditioned to go against us. Like it's like a certain mentality. It's almost like a virus or something. I don't know if it's if they have a parasite in their brain or it's just the conditioning, but they're definitely more likable to catch diseases, and parasites definitely have a strong impact on people that are not as melanated. Um, yeah, and it brought me to understanding that we definitely have that. This is uh for defense, okay? This is for defensive purposes. Like brother said earlier, yeah, we need to do martial arts and stuff like that. Um, However, I think and it's gonna be my responsibility too. I'm not just putting this on people in the chat, but I think I'm of age where I have to dedicate a portion of my life to helping out my African American or FBA brothers and sisters, indigenous brothers and sisters, where I have to dedicate a portion of my time to be proactive. So I was thinking about I'm not here. I'm not even I don't even want to say a strategy for real, because being on Twitter isn't really a place for a strategy. But what I can say that we all can agree on is that we do need some type of security. You know what I'm saying? In defense, like all of this is offensively doing stuff. So we at least need something defensively. Um, and how we could go about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical. Through our history, we definitely used our influence, our charisma, and our charm to our advantage to get the desired outcomes that we want. It's just not really taught throughout history. You know, they might teach you a technique of it in like the 48 laws of power or the art of seduction or whatever, but there's our brothers that and sisters that naturally know how to implement certain things. It's just that that's why certain things aren't taught. So we at least need a security. Us as FBAs need to build up a security company. Now what we do with that security company, you know, we know the law. It's gonna at least you're gonna know basic law. You feel what I'm saying?
Well,
And
well,
we
well, well,
definitely.
the first step is we're going to have to live in the same neighborhood. The integration really screwed us up. My auntie told me that back in the '90s, and I thought she was crazy, but my aunt knew what she was talking about. Black Truth, what's on your mind?
Salute family, salute Professor Allen, Sister Wani, Sister Nikki. It's a pleasure to be on stage here. Well, you all know that this story definitely pisses me off, but there is one thing that I will say this verdict helps our people to do, and that's to, just like with the election, see who's on which side of the spectrum, who's for us and who's against us. So, I've recently had to unfollow some people. I saw some people cooning and buffooning, from massa. There are a lot of people who sadly will go for these butter biscuits. And I put something in the purple pill. I don't know if you all saw the response from Alvin Bragg, aka Alvin Bragger. Did you all see that?
No, I haven't.
He was in on it.
No, I didn't
No.
see it.
All right. Well, let me
Tell
go
us
ahead and
about it.
read it and be ready to be disturbed. All right, here we go. The decision was a defeat for the office of Alvin L. Bragg. That's Cap. They're all in on it. They're all, hanging out, eating lunch together. That's how these lawyers do it. Manhattan's district attorney. In a statement on Monday, Mr. Bragg said that the jury has now spoken. We deeply respect the jury process and we respect their verdict, he said. In his statement, Mr. Bragg also noted that prosecutors and their families have been besieged with hate and threats on social media, by phone, and over email throughout the trial. And
Wow.
then he said, put simply, this is unacceptable to, and everyone, no matter your opinion on the case, should condemn it. These people, this is the reason why I have zero sympathy, for these bootlicks. When they get caught up, when Trump brings the hammer down with his DOJ and everyone else on Alvin Bragger, and when the tethers are getting deported, like the guy that Wani put in the jumbotron, I'm gonna be sitting up, popping some butter. What is it, Butterworth? I'm gonna be sitting down on the couch, hanging out, and enjoying the show, because these people have zero sympathy for us when we go through all at just absolute hell. And so, this is family. Take note of all the people who are bootlicking, all the people who are, cooning and buffooning, and uh, also, the, I want to say this as well. We don't have, too many friends, too many people. Look at the people who were there on the subway with our brother Jordan Neely. They were tethers.
They were tethers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were tethers. So
That's what I was trying to say earlier, but
let's
carry on. There you go.
let's we got to
And
take care of one another.
they assisted the white supremacists.
Hmm.
Yes, they did, just
They
like
held
they
them down.
assisted in George Floyd's killing by
Hmm.
calling the police. Two West Africans called the police from a Palestinian store.
Wow.
Exactly.
One of them was undercover and didn't say he was underage, so he didn't have to show his thing, but he was identified as West African. Yeah, they have everything to do with it, and they're always in the mix, and they're always on the opposing side. And also, one of the cops that was standing by was half Nigerian out there with when Floyd was killed, and that was nothing but a bunch of foreigners and a white man, and they were standing around, knuckled under and scared because that's their master. You're not going to go against him.
Hmm.
Exactly. I'll go. I don't know if I'll. Do you want me to drop down or just go on mute and stay on the stage?
Oh, you can just stay on mute. We're gonna go to.
Okay.
I think it was Path to Justice, but y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead, Path to Justice, and then Dr. Your Highness.
All right. Well, thank y'all again for these continued conversations. I think the tether point y'all are mentioning is very good. And more specifically, I'm going to take it one step back. Thank you, Professor A, Wani, and Nikki for holding these spaces. We need to have this dialogue because me just looking at least the social media perspective, it does feel like a lot of our people are in shock about what's going on. And I think the subconscious kind of view is that we've made all these inroads, we feel like, with the criminal justice system and at least being able to lead to the protection of our people when things are kind of video camera. But here in this situation, you have a white man choking out our people for our citizen, whether you want to say he was violent mental health or whatever. But I mean, even in the criminal justice system, to my understanding, self-defense is supposed to be reasonable, i.e., you don't bring a gun or a knife to a fist fight, and even in a fist fight, you're not supposed to be sitting there and choking somebody to death for 6 minutes. So even if you want to say that there was self-defense and using the chokehold, there sure as hell wasn't self-defense as a reasonable matter of using that for 6 minutes, especially from a trained military person. I doubt any military agent was taught to choke somebody for 6 minutes as as with the chokehold without the intent of killing them. So I think that needs to be part of that discussion. But for me, there's kind of layers to it, and maybe I should have written this down because my memory again is fairly garbagey. But I think a lot of the shock is that history, and we feel like they have progress, but there's a lot of layers to the issues. So one of the layers, at least concisely speaking, is the tether issue. These witness, one of the dudes who was helping the guy choke our Neely out was a tether. Two of the witnesses seemed to be tethers, and they when it came to speaking out against it, they say, "Well, we didn't know he was having difficulty breathing. You're watching." One of which was clearly watching this man get choked out for 6 minutes. But when it comes to speaking against white supremacy, especially for protecting foundational Black Americans, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, okay, we see what side these tethers are on. So that's one issue. Another issue is that I think the bigger issue is we're discussing how do we protect our people, and one of this is kind of the individualistic perspective that the gentleman, two gentlemen or three gentlemen ago was talking about. I agree, but I think on a bigger issue, what Neely Fuller Jr. I believe said is that white supremacy maintained itself by monopolizing violence. So it's not just for the psychological issue, but white supremacy can only really be maintained by maintaining a means of violent control over a group of people. Otherwise, then nobody's going to listen to you say. So this is just part of that element, and some of the violence is overt, i.e., overt and unlawful killing, but a lot of the violence is through the system and manipulating, sometimes overtly and explicitly, means of control to continue systemic injustice for the point of keeping us as a permanent underclass. So that's a less overt form of violence, but it's always backed by the violence of the state, i.e., we control these assets, and at the end of the day, I can call a sheriff and or official who can have control of politicians and or policemen who can enforce violence. So that's another element. There is that to upend, we have to have a means of not only uh, well, more specifically, stopping this monopolistic control of violence in all areas of human activity and all systems, because systemic white supremacy is just not going to change because the culture doesn't change. And I think that's one of the last 2 points I want to make is that the last gentleman, I don't think he had a good understanding of systemic white supremacy or the culture of white supremacy. This isn't white supremacy is not about being humane. I think I mentioned that before. To me, the emotional center of white supremacy is control, fear, and resources. There's no humanity in any of that. That's why even your white person who's not necessarily a white supremacist in the fact that they want to enforce and evoke violence or injustice against black people, they're complicit with it, and they're complicit with the violence because they want the benefits, and that they know that the only way they get the benefits of systemic white supremacy is through the maintenance of that system. So they're going to sit back and watch. So they're not really innocent in a pure sense. They're complicit with it because they want to have the benefits, and this is overt. And I guess another point, and not to talk my everybody's head off, but this is bad policy for us as Black Americans also because we're tied to this country, the United States of America. Like most of the world who's going to watch this is not going to give a damn about what these conservative white supremacists like Megyn Kelly are saying. They're not going to give a damn. They say Black Lives Matter is over and that we have Trump. Like they don't give a shit. All I see is y'all, a white man choking a black man on video camera for 5 6 minutes, and that he's not having to do any jail time. So they're looking at our country more barbarically because of these white supremacists. And that's going to have a long term negative consequence as far as our worldwide power, because that's literally them showing the rest of the world that we have maintained our control in this country through violence that is not reciprocated with justice. So how are so by just natural logic, other people around the world are going to see that and be like, we can't deal with you in fair dealings because at the end of the day, you run your country and this world through violence. So these white supremacists aren't looking at that bigger picture, but that's going to negatively affect us of Black Americans because A, they do the violence against us, but B, we live in a country where they're dropping our international standards through their want to maintain their system, even at the cost of all of our benefit. So I think I had one more point, but that's generally what I'm seeing from all this. Is a lot of layers to this, but just long story short, what we have to do is that we have to understand that not only do we have to be able to combat and defeat the monopolistic violence of white supremacy, even if that means we have to have monopolistic control of self-defense against this violence. And then two, if we don't take over the reins of this country, these folk are going to run us into the fucking wall because the whole world is seeing this because they just see a video camera of common sense. They're not going to give a damn about a white supremacist ideology of maintaining violence. All they're going to see is y'all acting violence and you're not doing any justice. So that's who you are. as a people and who you are as a country. So I think I'm gonna step down after making those statements.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Yohanan.
Peace, everyone. Peace, Wani. Peace, Nikki the God. My queens, empresses, goddesses. Peace, Professor Allen. Peace to all my family in the room. Our members of the diaspora defending the Jordan Penny verdict. Yes. And when they do that, they're also defending our low key genocide of our people. So just know those in the diaspora, when you align yourselves, one of our people is lynched before the world and you justify it, you are justifying attacks on our community, attacks on our people. And that's not right because first of all, the weirdest part of the whole scenario is all of these public lynchings are done in blue states. So that's the first thing that's like weird or a coincidence. These are supposed to be liberal states. And here you are seeing public lynchings in liberal states. Secondly, I get I get concerned because every time they do that, it's something going on underneath. And I think a lot of us in the liberal states are getting on cold and they use these scenarios as a smokescreen to attack our neighborhoods. I'm just gonna say it because I'm praying that it don't happen. But the Black Lives Matter movement is encouraging violence, and the Black community, we are not talking like that. We're not trying to set our communities on fire. When George Floyd was lynched on television, they came in our neighborhood, these so-called Black Lives Matter activists, and was setting our stores on fire. They were looting from these people were not from our neighborhood either. It was they had brought like huge dump trucks and they staged these so-called protests, and in the middle of the protests were huge bricks, and now all of a sudden people busting out the windows and they coming in our communities doing this. Our communities busting the windows, setting stuff on fire, looting things, the little banks that we have, looting the banks. They're doing that too. I seen all types of stuff happening during the George Floyd, and our community on the south side, like we're just actually kind of healing from that George Floyd situation. Real talk. We're just healing from that. We're just opening our stores back up, y'all. Black businesses are just starting to like come back up in our damn communities, and now all of a sudden the Black Lives Matter movement is talking about something. We gonna burn everything down, like it's so. But we're not gonna give up. We're gonna keep fighting the good fight, but we do have to be aware that when the media try to force us to be emotional about things, we really have to really look deeper at it because it affect it trickle the effect is it will trickle down and it'll end up hurting us. Like even when Martin Luther King was assassinated, I'm from the west side of Chicago. It's a little place on the west side called North Lawndale, and that was a prospering community. It was an all black community. It was all black stores and everything. When Martin Luther King was assassinated, the whole thing went up in flames. And I hate that people kind of revise history and make it seem like we're setting our communities on fire. That is not true. They assassinated him, lynched him publicly, and then they came and set our communities on fire. So these fires and looting that's happening in black communities are not from us. We care about our communities. We want our communities to be safe. We care about our people. We definitely care about our black children, our young black boys and our black daughters. We definitely care about our elderly. We definitely care about our culture. We definitely care about our tribe. And so I just wanted to just say that, like, I land my plane.
Thank you.
I understand everybody is feeling this. Yeah, thank you, sweetie. I understand everyone is feeling a certain way about what happened, and you can feel free to come up and express yourself. And most of the people who come in here, they express themselves in an appropriate manner. So if you feel the need to vent, go ahead. I wanted to, is there anyone who's done like just one person who wouldn't mind just stepping down so I could bring Savannah up?
I don't mind. I'll step down.
I'll step down too.
Okay, come back up, Black Truth. Okay. Roger Ward, you can speak.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
cool. Peace to the room.
Sorry.
It's okay. Peace to the room. Hey, Professor Allen, what's going on? Hey, Nikki. Hey, Wani, what's going on, fam? Uh, to answer the question to the room, I haven't seen anything specifically on Twitter. I'm pretty sure, it doesn't surprise me that they would say anything crazy, just because when a lot of them, not all of them, but when a lot of them come over here, they adopt the same vitriolic and white supremacist ideologies as the oppressors and things of that nature, and a lot of times they'll go even more extreme just to prove their allegiance to white supremacy. So it doesn't surprise me. um, but I will say that just like the sister mentioned, um, this is another public lynching that is on the Democrats' hands, like in these democratic legislations. It's another one. So maybe this is just my thinking, my opinion. But I feel like, with the tinfoil kufi on right here, and this is just my opinion, I do think that since we crashed out their party, that maybe that this is some type of symbolic win for them. It's just, it's just maybe what I'm thinking. Because like I said, we did crash out. Well, since they crashed our reparations bill in California, we banded together and say, you know what, no tangibles, no vote, no reparations, no vote, and we just didn't, you know, we collectively came together and didn't allow Kamala to win. So maybe this is some type of, a symbolic win, like I said, for them, just to respond to, how we banded together. So, we just got to band together again and just continue fighting the fight. And I'll land there.
Who's next?
Is it Mr. X? Is that how you, Mr. X, go ahead.
Peace, everybody. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say. I just wanted to say, everybody is justified, to feel how they feel and, respond how they want to respond. The only thing I want to say is, um, I seen a lot of people talking about, eye for an eye, or people calling for war or what have you. If you're gonna make that call for war, if you're gonna make that call for eye for an eye, you better be the person that's willing to poke that eye out. You better be the person that's willing to be on the front lines. Because if you're not, then you you can't encourage people to do something that you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. You feel me? So um just wanted to put that out there. And but yeah, everybody's justified to feel however they want to feel. This was, a tragedy. So peace.
We're on the honor system. Who thinks that they were next? Since I can.
But great heights.
Okay, all right, thank you. Hello, everybody. Peace to the room. This is just something I've been thinking about. Uh, I remember Kanye West when he was going through his situation,
I don't mean to
that rant
interrupt
that he
anybody,
had
but
a
can y'all
while
hear me
back.
technically? Because like it still says connecting on my phone.
We can hear you. Can you hear the guy talking? Oh,
Can you hear
Drop
me?
down, we'll bring you back up. Drop down, Savannah. I'll bring you right back up.
Sorry. Continue.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, like I was saying, I remember that when Kanye West a while back was going through his situation, he had that rant that was kind of public or whatever, and he had made a statement, and he was saying like that they always want to traumatize you and monetize you. And basically, what I got for that statement, basically like he was saying like they always want to inflict some kind of pain and then get something out of it. And the reason why I was saying that is because I was just thinking the other day majority of these high profile cases that we see involving black men getting killed, majority it's three of them in particular. When the Trayvon Martin was a kid, uh, George Floyd was, they say he was high on drugs, handcuffed behind his back on the ground already, right? Okay, now you got this Jordan Nelson guy. He was, I mean, like a little small guy. I didn't even see the video. I didn't even want to watch it, whatever. But it's like a little small guy, mentally disabled, whatever. So from my perspective, what I keep seeing is like when they go out and they do this type stuff, it's like they never pick someone that you will look at them and everybody be like, oh man, they just took out Van Holyfield in his prime. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm not picking on any of these people, but I'm saying it's like they pick someone that's already at an advantage to be I mean, I guess be killed or whatever. I hate to be like a conspiracy theorist, but even when that George Floyd thing happened, I really felt in my heart like it was meant to try to trigger us into trying to act in a way that they like, okay, well, they gonna act out like this. And then like spiritually speaking, if the fight come to us one on one, yeah, we'll take it. But as far as us as a group of people, we ain't never done that in the United States. Not us. We never and according to my recollection, like in history, whatever that I know, we ain't never just got up and just went after these people like that. And I think I really do deeply think to an extent now that some of this stuff, I'm not saying that that was staged, but I just think that it's some type of agenda to provoke us to see how far they gonna go. Because it's even like, I don't know, I even got my suspicion when Colin Kaepernick took that knee that time. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird because you know, every single presidency, they have some type of agenda or something they gonna get across. And even like 9/11, they had, you know, you got doubts about that, right? So it it just fishy to me. I land my plane.
To Black.
How's everybody doing? Professor Juan and Nikki, uh, everybody in the room. My first thought is the Dred Scott decision. That's what comes to mind when Judge Sonny said that there is no rights that a black man, that a white man should respect from a black man in technically terms. But then the second thing that comes to my mind is the picture of Malcolm X next to the window holding the his little thuka. You know what I'm saying? And I like what the brother said. I feel like it is something to try to trigger us to get a reaction. Like the sister said earlier, in Chicago, they set up bricks. They did that down here in Dallas. They did that in New York. They did that almost everywhere where a majority of massive black people live to get us to provoke us to destroy our own neighborhoods. This is another psyop in some ways because I feel like it is, especially being in New York, because I've been there a couple of times. It's weird to not have any type of FBA family around, especially on the train, and for all just to be the only black people around that wasn't FBA except Brother Neely was the tethers, and for them to sit back and just watch it, it reminds me of how this so-called Pan-Africanism, this flat blackness has never worked for us, and it was never tended to work for us. I always reiterate to the New Negro movement because that was the beginning of the demise of our lineage in the way that it is now. And I continue to feel like long as we continue to consolidate together and stay on code and not give them the reaction that they really want us to give, because I feel like they really want us to just do something big because we're not reacting the way they want or the way they are when it comes down to Trump. So I feel like they just trying to kick us some chaos and some dust before he get in, because they know we down for the mass deportation. They know we down with just a lot of things that the Republicans are on right now. And I just say be aware, stay prepared, and don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Um, Housing, did you speak already? Housing,
Hold on. Good evening, everyone. No,
did you?
actually, no. I just got on.
Okay, so I'm okay. So it's gonna go like this. It's gonna be Savannah, John Horse, Housing, and then James.
All right, thank you, Professor Nikki and Wani, for hosting this space and everyone in the room. Hope everyone is doing well, all things considered. But at the end of the day, we already knew where this was going. Um, I think Tariq was sharing some of the symbolism, a bunch of the symbolism. Excuse me. Awesome. I always trip over that word, symbolism, um, with the whole show of itself. Alvin Bragg, yeah. I mean, he irritates my whole spirit, but it is what it is. Um, I remember growing up and like not being allowed to get to go on the trains, and then making the decision when I became an adult to go. And like I saw why we weren't allowed, right? You had people talking to themselves, people peeing in the train, people doing all types of stuff, people doing some people doing cool acts. Um, it was different, right? But everybody for the most part minded their business. Everybody just looked forward, looked straight, right? Dude probably was telling you that his father was Ben Franklin, and could make a convincing story too. But he's not even talking to you. He talking to the corner. You're supposed to just look straight, don't say nothing. It is what it is. He gonna say all types of crazy stuff. But was he even talking to you? And I think the issue that I have is that there was supposed to be legislation in place to protect to protect Jordan, right? And that's where I talk about the system with anyways. But it just sucks, because he should have never even been on that plane. He should have been in a facility somewhere getting help. Um, and that's where our legislation basically dropped the ball. Um, they knew he wasn't fit for a jail system. He wouldn't have been able to work for them, quote unquote, right? So they left him out in the streets, and they used him as a quote unquote sacrifice. And I was in Columbus. Purposely, I wanted to go downtown to see what was going on during that whole, uprising in the cities, because everybody was like, "Oh, we're going to the state house." I thought it was fishy because if you're going to go to the state house, why not go when everybody's in the office? And it's a Friday, and everybody who ever worked for the state or been anywhere, everybody tries to leave right after lunch. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, the most you might see people. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, what? I noticed a bunch of tethers were going, especially the Somali and Ethiopian tethers, and they were the ones throwing bricks and things and bottles at the state house. And the cops had the nerve to try to go after the little black kids. And I got hit with a beanbag stopping that, right? Because no, you about to go after those grown men. And it was just like that. They were going to try to pin babies on that state house. And it just really sucks. Stop, if you know anybody going, don't go. stop going to these little protests. They are ran by people who want to see us hurt. That documentary with Missouri and all the people, the main people who started the movement and who gave us warning. What was his name, Darren? What is his name? He warned us about the Butch Dyke lesbians who was stealing money. What is his name? Someone, y'all know him.
Darren
Thank you.
Seals. Was it Darren
Darren Seals,
Seals?
yes. He
Okay.
warned us about the people stealing the money and who had other alternatives. And unfortunately, the truth, people don't like the truth, right? It gets tampered out, it gets padded out, it gets pushed under the rug. But had we all listened to Darren Seals, then maybe he would still be here. But yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. Hopefully everybody takes heed to everything that was said. Again, if you're the one pushing out the threats of hurting and doing anything crazy, you need to be out there running it. Don't put these kids out here on the front lines to do your bullshit. Take anything that you say and own it, because right now more than ever we know we have targets, possibly. Because I mean this whole space thing. Nobody. I've gone to so many different spaces before. At the very beginning, like I don't know if everybody have any. You all went to the Mario Warhol or whatever. He never has these issues, never. And then I just stopped going to his spaces because I'm like, it's annoying. Like, what? Like, they know what they're doing. So, I don't know. I love everyone. Please take care of yourself and just heed everything. Just watch everything and, again, take notes. And I feel like, again, for the people who are of the lineage, for every comment they make, we go on generations. Your grandkids may not get reparations. Your great grandkids may not get reparations because this is sick. And I land my plane.
We are getting closer to reparations. I must say that. I know we are. Was it John Horst who's next? Were you next, John Horst?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, man. I don't want us, to, let this discourage us. We kind of knew, this is how the white supremacists move, man. Look, they think it's a win. They think it's a win. It's not a win. This actually makes the white supremacists look extremely weak because you're gonna go after a homeless black man, a small homeless black man. You know what I'm saying? He's mentally ill. He has all of this, stuff going on. That's this, this is a win for them. This is their hero. Daniel Penny is their hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I want people to understand that what we're looking at white supremacy in a very, very desperate form. They need to win any way that they can. These people, they come from a culture of cowardice. It's a religion of cowardice. It's not a religion of courage. It's attacking people when they're weak. See, they hate us because we're black, but they're able to harm us like Jordan Neely because we're poor. That is the reason why they were able to target him like that. And I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Um, the goal of the white supremacists as of right now, because as you can see, we do have a lot of tethers who trying to align themselves with the white supremacists any way that they can. They practiced this during Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany, they actually even had Jews who were basically, trying to push, Jews into the concentration camps. So they're gonna utilize people who may look like us to try to harm us. They're trying to run the same play, but thankfully we caught it ahead of time. And I just want us to know, I just want everybody in here to know, like, look, man, I- don't be discouraged by this. I look at it, from a positive standpoint that, um, that Jordan, he's free. I look at it like he's free. He's set free. He ain't got to deal with, what I'm saying, none of that bullshit up there in New York. You know what I'm saying? All the resources that he deserved to get, the help that he needed to get, you know who they gave all those resources to? They gave it to all the illegals. While he was homeless, a citizen here whose family fought in every war, they basically, left him out on the streets for people who, you know what I'm saying, that they literally are trying to undermine our country. So at this point, you know what I'm saying, like they, you know, they're letting it be known like where they stand, and you know, it is what it is. So, you know, for us, we have to understand and study the white supremacists. We have to study the culture of white supremacy and understand, you know, when you are in a war, you need to study your opponent. You need to study yourself and study your opponent. Understand that the white supremacists, they attack weak targets, soft targets. But we're gonna do this, we do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't start this war, but you know, if it is what it is, we gonna finish it. And like Nikki said, we're getting closer to reparations. As closer we get to reparations, the more hostile these people are gonna become. But you know what? I actually don't mind that. I want you to come all the way up the middle with this bullshit. I want that. I want it all. I want all the smoke. Not land.
Thank you, Jan Horse. So it was going to be housing.
Good evening. Good
Housing.
evening, everyone.
Hmm. Good evening.
You know, I'm from up here. I'm from New York. I don't live too far where all that took place. And it just hit different for me. And I don't care what they say about, MJ. Call him MJ. He hollered, he screamed. They got a million people did what he do. I mean, they got a million people act like he act in the subways. And they don't bother nobody. They just holler and scream. This guy didn't have to do what he did. And on top of that, like one of the someone was speaking was saying, it was a bunch of tethers there. It wasn't no foundational, excuse me, foundational Black Americans in there, and that was lower downtown. It happened downtown, and he just got away with murder. And what really made me like look at it and said to myself, I felt really some kind of way when he was in that bar, and they was congratulating him. I'm like looking at this guy. I said, "You piece of shit." That's what I said. You a straight piece of crap. You 6'3", 6'5". You grabbed the smallest guy on deck, and you literally killed him. And you knew what you was doing. And all y'all sat there and watched. I'm gonna land my plane. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. James, you're next.
Peace to the room, Professor, Miss Wanny, Nikki. And just to say, I've been triggered since I've learned my family's history here, real foundation of Black American. And I'm from Georgia. And seeing this, we gonna have to start, getting on this Trump administration and this anti-black, anti-hate for Black Americans bill passed. Period. We're gonna have to start making some of these politicians uncomfortable because this is the right time of the year to do it. Yeah, I remember being outside 2020, staring the guns in the face. Yeah, they didn't budge, but you know, we have to. This was systemically done. So we're just gonna have to make them. Everybody has to be uncomfortable right now. There's another way we can skin a cat. Now I land my plane.
Thank you, James. I wanted to welcome Black Truth back to the stage. I know you had more that you wanted to share. You can go ahead.
Thanks, Sister Nikki. Yes, I didn't completely address the question of the room or members of the diaspora defending Jordan Penny's verdict, and absolutely yes, I've seen multiple accounts. Now, some of these are complete troll accounts. It's kind of hard to prove. They could be suspected white supremacists just putting up Nigerian flags, but I believe a lot of them are real and some of them are verifiably real. A lot of Nigerian flags, Caribbean flags, other flags popping up in certain people's comment section, sharing white supremacist memes. I saw one where it had a person Yeah, I don't even want to describe it. It's so disturbing. But these people are definitely co-signing the verdict and defending this Pennywise character. I absolutely despise that. So when it's time to call ICE and call them twice, get your phones ready. 866-347-2423. That's 866-347-2423. Have the number locked and loaded. January 21st, we all need to be on getting these tethers out of the mix because we cannot deal with not only the combined force of the white supremacists along with all their flunkies. We saw that in the case of Jordan Neely. And also another thing I wanted to point out was the fact that this is literally I'm white and I say so. I did some research recently on mental health cases, like with the brother Brendan Deppa. Does anyone remember that case?
No.
Brendan Deppa was the mentally ill student. He had autism, and he beat up a teacher who was a white woman
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever, and they blew it up in the media. Oh my goodness! Oh, hulking black man. They literally have titles out there saying hulking black teen. Hulk smashes. Pretty much, just really overdoing it on the storyline, but they fail to mention, or if they do mention it, they mention it real briefly, the fact that he has, autism. He was mentally impaired. And so they gave that brother 5 years. They sentenced him to 5 years in prison. Whereas we have plenty of cases of these people actually unaliving people and they're committed into a mental institution for a few years or committed into or given probation. Or in the case of this guy who didn't have, the assailant didn't have any mental issues. He was the person attacking someone who did have mental issues, and they let him off scot free, or as I like to say, Zimmerman free. And so it's really just a matter of I might not say so. There's another case you're gonna have a hard time finding this one because they've done so much to hide it. But it's about a person named Alexander Zuck, who was a white supremacist demon in North Carolina. He was caught in possession of all kinds of child corn on the cob, and uh, when he was finally found out, and he was also doing other things that I can't describe here, but when he was finally caught, after he was jailed and everything, all of a sudden he got a psychiatrist to say, "Oh, he has high performing autism." This is a guy who made the dean's list. This is the guy who had an Eagle Scout, outperforming people. He was doing his thing, had no issues before, but after he got caught, they said, "Oh, he has autism." So it's literally I might not say so. They if you dig deep into that case, the U.S. had to overturn the verdict because they let him off early. I mean, it's just it's literally I might not say so when it comes to these verdicts. And so to see the diaspora, the dirty diaspora, going after us and hating on us and co-signing the white supremacists, siding with them, hey, it's ICE 2025. And with that, I'll land my plane.
Savannah.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on what something a brother had said about the military Marines. I have relatives, obviously, in in the military, and one of my cousins, I'll never forget, like when I first met him, he said to me, "Yeah," he's like, "Yeah, the government turned me into a killing machine. I know how to kill somebody with a spoon." And he was telling, like, we were all kids and like we were all laughing. He was like, "Oh, I'm dead serious." But like growing up, we just always hear about like that's just what they are. Like they are when Marines are literally killing machines. and that's what he is. So he knows what to do. He knows what pressure points to hit. He knows all of that. And to say that he, like, to hear people argue, oh, he wasn't on him that hard, or he wasn't really doing that much. He Jordan Neely could not move. Like he looked like he was. I it's anybody who saw the video to just sit there and just say you did not watch someone get lynched, you're heartless. You're heartless. And obviously we cannot continue to work with y'all. We won't work with all y'all. There's no crossing the aisles because you're telling us perfectly who you are. We need that. Thank you. But yeah, I think um, we need to talk to Elon too about getting real names with well, I know with especially with the verified accounts, because at the end of the day, this has to stop. Um, everybody's like, oh, doxing this. No, it's one thing when we see people, when you can go to a person's social media account and had taken in context anything and everything they posted about and how nasty they were and just how hateful they were, you could have already, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need that in America. And I think that right there, I think we would be able to eliminate a lot of these tethers, um, just by their social media imprint, footprint right there. And I don't think he's gonna be against that. But yeah, landing my plane.
Midwest.
It don't say Sotar anymore.
Hmm.
It don't say Sotar.
Yes, they're still tardigrade.
Yeah, I was trying to give homage to Professor. But anyway, yo, so I have a little different perspective. I was actually in a situation my freshman year in college where I had someone mounted me and they were choking me with a throttle choke. That means like both hands around my neck. So after that situation, I knew because the dude did ambush me. I said, you know what? I need to change some things. I started lifting weights. I started doing stuff to strengthen my neck. I started messing with this wrestling coach. You look up Tony Cicchini. He was in Black Belt Magazine's top 20 street fighters. So listen, I'm saying this. You mothers out there and some of you other guys who have sons, it's no fucking dance classes. You strengthen your neck. You're doing wrestling. They learn how to be aware. Okay, even before they play video games. We have to make ourselves a hard target. That means a lot of lifting weights, not eating bullshit from McDonald's. You fucking lazy ass mothers need to be cooking grilled chicken breasts, ground turkey steak. Even some of you fathers out there, I don't give a fuck if you in the hood, you chose to have these kids, you do right by them. And they got to get punched in the face. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The average nigga can't just hit me in the face and I go down. Okay, so they gotta take the boxing and Muay Thai. They gotta learn how to wrestle. Because if they can do that, they can prevent somebody from raping them. They can get back up to their feet, especially if they're a woman. They can throw some elbows and at least be able to run and get away. Right? That has to be a priority. That's the reason he was able to take Jordan Neely. Outside, he didn't have the family structure, of course. But I'm just saying, outside of that, fuck that gay ass dancing. Like, yeah, I've sparred with some people and they used to dance and they whoop my ass in Muay Thai. But besides that, that's like a one off. I'm saying they have to learn these skills and abilities. Okay? Man, and you think I'm bullshitting? Look at Anderson Silva. That dude can dance bachata and everything. But he was knocking everybody out in the first, minute once he understood your rhythm in the UFC. So I'm just saying, yo, everyone has to wrestle. Strengthen your neck. The neck, it's stuff I can show you, like you that I can show you. That's kind of fucked up though. But to strengthen your neck. I mean, I forget that wrestler back in the day. They used to put him in a noose and he would not choke. But I'm saying that's things you have to
A
do.
noose?
Yeah, it was a dude named Farmer
One of them
Burns. It's a
phones.
dude named Farmer Burns. That's why I got doing some of his exercises. But Farmer Burns, and they used to put him in a noose, and they couldn't kill him. But it was like it was part of his gimmick to prove it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's
Do
what I'm
you
saying.
lift weights with your neck? I used to do
Yeah. I put
some neck exercise. I forget what they are though.
well, yeah. So I have people push my neck from the back or the front and the side and both sides. And then
Oh yeah, that's the main one. Yeah, everybody, let's get better in shape.
yeah, so I'm saying that's it. So yeah, you can get your booty. Girls want to get their booty big. Okay, you can get some shoulders and be able to do some pull ups. And
My
guys,
booty big?
well, yeah, people will do squats and lunges and hip
Define what a
thrusts.
booty is.
The glutes.
I want to hear this.
What do you mean? Define what a booty is?
I'm just joking.
Okay, I was about to say
No,
that threw
Juanity,
me off.
no, 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 no. We want to hear it.
No,
No, you don't.
Professor. What do you say? Pause. Pause. So yeah, so
Pause.
but yeah, but
A
for real,
pause, yeah.
Paul. So listen, lifting weights, doing the Muay Thai and the boxing, it has to be this way. And your kids are gonna get busted lips. Just make sure they wear a mouthpiece in the cup,
Now,
and
how
that's
do
it.
we get the Mexican built look? I'm very interested in that shape.
The the Mexicans I've seen haven't looked like that. You know what I'm saying? I had a Mexican wrestling coach. He didn't look like that.
Mm, perhaps he was Puerto Rican.
No, they don't like Puerto Ricans. They have issues, deep rooted.
I know.
So I mean, they,
Wani, you're wrong. You're wrong for that buggy that you posted.
For what? The multiple Mexican butts that didn't exist that I put. Those are ghost butts. They don't exist. Guess we have to laugh through the pain.
I mean, I was about to mention
Yeah.
the time a kid got the whole class in trouble because he mentioned how a teacher had a diaper booty. And the sad
Diaper,
part
A
huh?
about it is
diaper
she
booty.
did. She did. And
A diaper booty.
yes,
That's worse than my teacher who had a billboard booty.
Billboard booty. I the, uh, the whole time we've been on today, this week I'm evaluating some scholarly articles. I'm helping, actually helping my wife out with some evaluations, and I was listening to y'all talk while I was evaluating some articles, and I wanted to share something with y'all. There's an article called Medical. You know what? I'm gonna put it in a damn jumbotron. Medical complications of eating disorders. No, 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 that's not it. I'm sorry. Anti uh, anti-racist approach to achieving mental health equity. And I heard, I think it was Brother Black Truth talking a minute ago. I was like, damn, dude, I just read that, what you were talking about. Some of these articles I'm taking for my own practice, y'all, because it's just so fucking ridiculous how in your face these racial disparities are. Like the professionals are all like, yep, racial disparity exists. I'm about to hit y'all with something that the brother just said. I put it in the I put it in the jumbotron.
About the healthy eating?
He earlier he was talking about how I'm paraphrasing, but he was talking about how like the psychiatrists basically, they're in on it. The system of mental health is like they fuck us over too. I forgot exactly what he said, but I was reading. It was
Well, they
synchronicity.
don't.
I was reading
The problem is, it's no such thing. There's
exactly.
no such thing as mental health help. They tried to lock people up in asylums and they ended up raping them and abusing them. So they had to cut those loose, and that ended up where the reason that downtown LA looks the way it is because they opened up all the mental health places, and everyone went to the missions downtown, and they never left. They never left. It's always been sketchy down there for years, probably since the late 1800s. It's just sketchy. They've never been able to help people with mental health. There is no cure for any mental health disease, just tranquilizing you with thousands of different types of tranquilizers.
Which costs money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which you have no access to. But this
Yeah.
is the article. The camera on my laptop is raggedy,
But
so y'all forgive it.
exercising can help with depression. It um, it ignites those a lot of hormones. It helps with a lot, believe it or not.
Oh yeah,
You just
it'll
need to
heal.
do it and strengthen yourself.
Oh yeah, exercise like will build new neurons. I was watching it. I'm getting off topic, but there's a Green Beret, a Hispanic Green Beret from Vietnam who got shot up in his spine or some shit, and the doctors was like, "Dude, you're never gonna walk again. Sorry." And he said, "Oh, I'm never gonna walk. I'm gonna show you." This dude kept doing exercises that were outrageously painful, and the pain of exercise built new neurons. That dude was on his feet in 6 months and re-enlisted. walking around, running, jogging. But if y'all look at the jumbotron, this article that I had to evaluate said American psychiatrists pathologize enslaved people who were attempting to risk their lives by running away or who refused to work, diagnosing them with illness such as drapomania or just some made up shit. So basically, what that says, ladies and gentlemen, is the system of mental health is capped because psychiatrists would diagnose slaves who ran away from the plantation as having some type of mentally,
Yes,
but
they
basically they
definitely
crazy from
did.
running away. That's
Right.
fucking crazy.
That was a mental illness. You're running away from being a slave. That's an actual on the books mental illness.
Isn't that wild? So how are we supposed to have trust for these people? You know. Anyway, I digress. Melanie, what's on your mind?
Hey Space, hey guys. I wanted to comment on the question. Are members of the diaspora defending the Jordan Penny verdict? I don't think it's the diaspora pushing it. I think it's a democratic um talking point because I heard a lot of them talk about it. And I think one of the strategies or talking points that's coming down the pipeline, they keep saying, I think it's they dog whistling to each other because I heard it in like two other spaces. They saying like the Jordan Neely case was because of the lack of black education, and now all the red states that have this education system. I might not get it all right, but I just want y'all to start listening out for this because I've been hearing it a lot in the last like day or two. But anyway, they were saying like what most black people are in red states. A lot of black people don't use the school fundings, and they not getting the proper education. So we, quote unquote, we as black people need to start, you know, getting funding and looking at the executive branch where they're sitting on all this federal money, and we need to start quote unquote rebuilding the black community. And the only people that can help us is the Democrats. And the reason Jordan Neely, um, I mean, yeah, the
Daniel
Daniel,
Penny and Jordan Neely. Yeah.
yeah. The reason why the black guy had died basically because he didn't have the right education in the educational system. We need to start looking at the funding in the black communities that's in the red states. So I think this is a democratic push and we need to look out for that. And just those words that I said, they keep saying that shit over and over again. So I think they dog whistling to each other. So that's my whole input on it.
I just wanted to say that the in the blue states, our education system is actually worse than in the red states.
Exactly. But I think the Democrat is pushing to try to attack the red states through getting funding from black communities. I don't know how it is, but I just recently started hearing it. So y'all just listen out for it. And they saying the only way how we could correct these black communities is through the Democrats in the red states. The craziest shit ever.
Nope.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hate to break out the history on you on us, but history dictates that. And let me make a disclaimer: I'm neither Republican nor Democrat, but history dictates that the greatest advances were done up under the Republican Party under the leadership of Ulysses S. Grant. So like my dad say, that them dogs don't hunt with
I'm
with
going.
Right.
I'm going to read what I put in the jumbotron. Like I said, psychiatry hasn't cured anything. They just give people
Facts.
tranquilizers to shut them up. Different types of different classes of tranquilizers, and they all make you fat, by the way, because you get super hungry because it does something to your brain as well as um, antihistamines and drugs to sleep. They all do the same trigger on your brain. It makes you hungry. So when women wanted equal rights, they called that hysteria. And of course, when we wanted to be free, they said we were suffering from drapetomania. Um, Anybody questioning immigration policies, these are the same people, are classified as xenophobic. They just make up words and apply it. They try to change my gender, which is woman, okay? There's only two, woman and man, male and female energies. There's no in between, even if you're a hermaphrodite.
Masculine and feminine, you're
Right.
right.
Even if you're a hermaphrodite, you still have two genders. It's just on one person, but it's still two, not 160. Um, they will call you homophobic, transphobic, or biphobic if you say that there are not tons of these genders. So you see, these psychiatrists, the whole thing is pseudoscience, and they're the only branch of medicine that doesn't have to prove anything. Like in every other branch, I can't do heart surgeries and fail 100 times in a row. At some point, they would say this is not a legitimate form of medicine, but they get to be a branch of surgery of medicine with no wins. None. I mean, the first time that they tried to address it, they abused the system. They said, oh, my daughter's gay, put her in the asylum. She's a nut. My wife is ugly and fat, put her in asylum. She's getting on my nerves. Everybody was in the asylum for random reasons. If you were a tomboy, you weren't acting right. If you were a willful daughter, a son that didn't marry the right person, they would figure out a way to put you in there. And of course, all of those people that were actually crazy were in there, and everybody was abused. So they blew it. That was their first wave of trying to help people with mental illness. Now they just drug everybody. They expect people that are mentally ill to take medication, which doesn't work. That's like telling drunk people not to drive drunk. They don't think they're drunk. They're going to drive drunk. You know, it's just ridiculous. They're not thinking straight, and people that are crazy don't think straight. They can't, regular people can't keep up with their medication. Come on, let's not lie. Straight thinking people that have no mental illness could not remember to take a vitamin half the time. So you can't expect people that are mentally ill, disorganized, and halfway in the streets or in the streets to manage that. So by now they should have come up with some way, some medication to help people with these different types of mental illness. Or maybe the the ancients were right all along when they said that people were possessed. I mean, and they were trying to exercise people. What's the difference? It's still not working. What is the difference from them saying that people were possessed versus people have schizophrenia, and you still haven't come up with anything to help anyone with anything? So they're just making up new names, and a lot of these names are bogus, and we will find out soon that all of those genders were a joke. And there's no such thing as cis women or chest feeders or any of the rest of the stuff that they made up. We're going to find out that that's all garbage. Go ahead to Black. Oh, wait, who was next? I don't know. Sorry, my phone is messed up.
Oh, you. I just wanted to say, shouldn't that be considered pseudoscience?
It should. It really should, but I guess because the German popularized it, they can't go against their homies.
Does
Yeah,
any
it's
does
called.
anyone know that does anybody know that like what methods we use like prior to like having to have licenses and practice? Like does anyone know like what did we used to do as far as like a people, like if someone was dealing with like, maybe depression or something like that?
Talk therapy is the only thing that when I went to grief counseling, they did a lot of things that are really just like a really good aunt would do. Talk therapy, writing, doing artwork, just expressing yourself,
Yes.
having an outlet of expression, play an instrument, draw, anything, just write in a journal, write down all of your emotions. Something about writing it out kind of like purges it for some reason. Don't question it, it doesn't hurt, it's not going to kill you, just try it.
What
Natural
about them
herbs too.
switches?
Natural
And
herbs too.
yeah,
Hmm.
but what about a switch in a good granny conversation after? They used to work that worked for me all the time. I'm a better citizen.
Getting spanked.
What would you just do? Not a
Did
sliding
you
Going
stop.
use
going
it?
to go get your own switch is traumatic,
Did you make
and it
your
make
own
you fix
hickory
a lot of
stick?
shit.
Did you fashion your own hickory stick?
Weeping
What?
willows, I did,
What?
and I nobody told me don't go for the thin one. My dumb ass would go for the thin one because I
You
thought
better not.
that the velocity would allow me to move. And I was tall and lanky, and nah, my mom was very hand. She probably played softball in the past life.
I was petty when growing up. I see you go get a little switch. I'm gonna be petty and go grab a bigger one. It's like, she got that little one. Use this one, Granny.
Well, see, my brother only did it when we all was getting a whooping. That's when he stepped in, was like, no, and he taught me. You know, but y'all ever had a situation where you didn't even do anything, but it was like everybody, y'all bound to do something later, so I might as well just go ahead and take care of it now. Y'all never had that, or was my mama super abusive?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Or
yeah,
we all gonna get a whooping together.
literally, and we cried together.
You can't do that to these kids nowadays. You talk about get a switch. They gonna call the police on you.
Talk about some I got with human rights.
We don't know about that in Texas. Shit, we gonna chase you down the street.
But see, that's my mama talk about it. See, I was the fastest. Listen, I used to be so fast. I used to try to run up underneath the bed. And sometimes I was able to like give my brother the like leave me alone eyes. But if he was mad at me about something I did earlier, man.
Yeah, you the kind that got to get caught straight out the shower,
But
right before bedtime.
but see,
Before
that's the
you
thing. I
can't
knew my
run
mama's
nowhere.
schedule. I knew my mama's schedule. Once she in that bed and she got her nightgown on, chances of her coming outside, she ain't coming outside. So I used to try to wait till she went to bed.
Very fascinating.
She got my brother at school once.
Yeah, one time my daddy whooped the Nike, had them Nikes, and he beat my ass in front of the whole class, and them Nikes went flying across the classroom. I don't even know how.
Say them
I don't know how.
classroom whoopings get your ass right. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, you ain't gonna do nothing for at least a good that first semester. After that, you ain't gonna do nothing. Then after holiday break, yeah, you might come back with some little foolishness.
I'm still trying to figure out how to belt knock my Nikes off the feet. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that was a real ass whooping. Then Pops wasn't playing no games. He was coming there to teach a lesson in front of the class.
Listen, learn. Left. What's on your mind, bro?
I'm just curious. As long as you guys, it'll be changing the subject. It'll be going back to what your topic is. Um, my question is now I'm listening to what you guys are talking about regarding Jordan Penny. And I mean, this is just the most recent incident. There's so many things historically that's gone wrong. And as you guys said, with the gender and all the, what was it, 176 now? Is it really that high? I thought it was somewhere around 60. I mean, I thought that was crazy, but over 100, this is becoming absurd. And then one thing that I've been trying to find is a group of people who can be progressive in helping build some type of support system or platform, or for lack of a better term, some kind of supportive group that will actually help promote more positivity and cooperation within the Black community. I feel like we never really had that.
Okay. So, question: Are members of the diaspora defending Jordan Penny verdict? What do you think about that?
Say again.
The title: Are members of the diaspora defending Jordan Penny verdict?
Yeah, I mean, I I I have not really. I'm not. Yeah, I heard what you guys said that they were not really defending it and they thought it was more of the left. And I think that's what made me kind of veer off into what I just brought up. I just feel like with left leaning, there's so much. Everything is about division. So I kind of jumped from one thing to the next.
Hmm, interesting. Black Truth, what's on your mind?
Yep, they they definitely are in the mentions in the comment sections, just like the first thing that Wani posted in the jumbotron. So I don't know. It may be just a situation where uh, you may not be seeing it, but yeah, they're around and they're tethering and they're doing their thing. Tethers are gonna tether. Haters are gonna hate. But I did want to mention a few other examples of how they've used mental illness against our community specifically. Remember when MLK passed away, there was a witness to the crime, and she said that it wasn't the guy that they were trying to pin it on. Then the FBI and various other agencies all got together on code to say that she had a mental illness and they committed her into some kind of essentially loony bin. And so they got rid of that witness that way. The affluenza case, that was a case of a psychiatrist, a corrupt psychiatrist taking a term, pretty much pulling in so many words, pulling it out of his you know what and saying, hey, you know, here's a mental illness and this is why this guy who just unalived four people, doesn't deserve to go to prison. You have tons of these cases where people claim insanity, like the guy who was eating the person's face off. I'm sure you all remember that story. I think they were on acid or something. He was eating the face off.
On bath
He
salts.
got
Bath
yeah,
salts.
Oh Lord,
Yeah,
I'm
in
glad
he
they got
Florida.
got
rid of
off
that.
and he pleaded insanity. So the again, mental
For
illness is
using bath salts? I mean, for using drugs?
It's like spice or whatever you call that
Now for
shit.
Oh,
eating the
goodness.
dude face
Come on,
mhm,
on the
man.
Wow.
bath sauce.
mhm. Yeah, these
That's
these
not
people will
right.
literally claim mental illness when it's convenient. Then when it's us who may actually be autistic or may actually have mental illnesses or severe depression or something like that, there's absolutely no mercy. I saw people literally stating, and some of these were tethers, literally stating, "I'm glad the threat was neutralized." All these white
Oh my
supremacist
God.
talking points that were intended to really piss us off. But there's no sympathy when it's our people. When it's them, it's all of a sudden, oh, did society did society fail him? Did we miss something? Oh, we need to look back at his history. Oh my goodness. And they'll purposefully claim these mental illnesses to get off. If you've all been watching Professor Black Truth, the latest crime report, I the name slips me right now. I think it starts with a B. I think it's like Wreckett or something. The It was a man and his essentially new girlfriend who conspired to unalive the essentially the baby mama, and they well, I don't want to go into the whole entire story, but at the end of the day, the female who was really provoking things and trying to get the man to commit the murder, which he did, she went to Google and started looking up mental illnesses to claim. And do I have to go to jail? Do I have to testify if I can claim a mental illness? So this is a de facto thing that they use in getting off for crimes that they clearly commit. Most of the time, I'm not going to say all the time, but most of the time, their mental illnesses are nothing more than I might not say so. And when it comes to doing harm to our people who actually have mental illnesses or who actually are suffering from, different episodes or whatever it may be, it's again, I might not say so. They deserve that. They should have done this. They should have done that. It's just I might not say so. We're living in a system of white supremacy, so just have to roll with the punches and gear up for what's to come. I like how some people in the room were mentioning the anti-black hate crime bill that should have been pushed by these demon rats, especially Kamala Harris and Jim Crow Joe. They should have been pushing this the whole time they've been in office, but they neglected us. And so we let their party crash and burn as we should have. And so the next administration can get it too. If they refuse to meet our demands of reparations in the form of cash payments for foundational Black Americans specifically, and an anti Black hate crime bill, hey, we can let them crash and burn 1,000 times over as far as I'm concerned. So with that, I'll land.
Love it. Absolutely. Love it.
His voice all
Always a pleasure,
calm.
Black Truth.
But that
Always a
but I
pleasure,
wanted to
Black Truth.
comment on one of the topics he was talking about with the baby mama situation, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that lady was Latina and they was purposely attacking the baby mama. Is that the one you talking about with a Latina? Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's that black and brown, but go ahead.
I it looked like a white couple, but sometimes Latinos are really into the skin bleaching type of thing and the blonde hair type of stuff. But the I know the male was a suspected white supremacist in the situation, but I'm not sure about the female. It's the latest crime report. If you go to Professor Black Truth's YouTube channel, you'll be able to find it.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. Who else wanted to come up and contribute? Oh, housing. I see you. Come on, housing. What's that? Housing five. What's on your mind?
Okay. I seen that post, and I think she was white, and she got a double life sentence. I seen a post from Professor Black when when her boyfriend, I mean the female, convinced him to kill his baby's mother.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he basically, like, when they arrested him. But the funny thing is about it, right? They waited until he turned himself in. Ain't that crazy? It was a
Mm-hmm.
week before they arrested him. But the FBI took the case over, and that's why, he got 40 years, providing that he rat out on his girl, and she got a double life sentence. And also with that case is that he painted himself. He said it was a black man who did it. Did y'all guys
Uh-oh.
hear about that? It happened in Texas.
Here we go.
It's Yeah, he put the black face on. And they found all the evidence. Yeah.
Crazy.
And
And I
if
know
I'm not
y'all was
mistaken,
meant.
they both were built like Mexicans.
Yeah, they
Right.
probably
That's why I
was.
thought they were saying she
Yeah,
had
they
like some
probably
type of
were.
Latin
Oh my
accent.
God.
Built
Yeah,
like
they probably
laundry
were.
bags.
The
Yeah.
big back and all that. And y'all was mentioning something about the switch. The whooping thing. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to comment on.
Mm-hmm.
I took a trip down south when I was a little boy. I'm from New York, and I was with my friends and my cousins and stuff. So they was being bad, and the grandma said everybody go get a switch. And I looked at her, I ain't say disrespectful or nothing. I said, ma'am, you're not beating me. You're not beating me with no switch. And she gave me that look like, and she didn't say nothing. But my mom's caught me and my brother in the tub, and we got it. If it would have happened today, she probably would have caught a felony. Because she told us stop splashing water in the tub, and we wouldn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
She came in there with that extension cord and lit our ass up. I never forget that. And I land my plane.
That's always the backup whooping.
Oh man,
Say, I'm not gonna
I
lie, I
remember the
love being
extension
black.
cord.
That's I know discipline. See, I say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and that I learned the long way. When you know yes, ma'am, yes, sir, you get a lot of things. But another story, cause see, my siblings are older than me. So my sister, 13 years older than me. So one day she was babysitting me, and and I didn't want to go to bed. I'm like, my mama not here. You my sister, right? I'm gonna stay up. She's like, oh, you gonna stay up? I was like, yeah. She said, all right. I was like, cool. Oh my gosh, she did the ultimate betrayal. Tore my and we stayed behind the church, and that's how I know a lot of like we still kept a lot of our traditions alive. I know this church purposely planted a willow tree behind the church because I just learned willow trees are not quote unquote native to Ohio. So they purposely planted a willow tree. But yeah, she tore my ass up. I had welts for days. Like I was going around school like I had gunshot wounds. I was like, yeah, she did this to me. She did this to me. And that's how you know it was at different times because teachers were just like, wow, Savannah, what'd you do? Because I used to talk a lot. But but anyways, I don't know.
The black, what's on your mind, bro?
See, I think this is why being black is beautiful, because no matter what part of the land you from, you somewhat gonna have the same experiences and same little stories of customs, and this is this is how you verify a person real quickly, because I'm not getting chased around the desert with a machete or nothing. Like I don't come from that culture. Like I don't know about eating no monkey or no ukisi or super shit. Like I know oxtails, some chitlins. I don't like chitlins, but I know how to clean them. Know what I'm saying? Some green beans, some collard greens. That's my culture, and I'm cool with it. And just this conversation, like even though it started off as a heated conversation, like we always know how to bounce and balance everything to bring at least some happiness and some joy to a hard conversation. And I love it. And I'm just thankful for everybody in the room because, like, I feel like since we not like our elders and we are in close knit communities, because we was forced to use the green book. So you going to another state or town, you knew who you was going to go visit because that's probably so and so kinfolk, or know what I'm saying. That's your ain't granny cousin. So you was going somewhere to familiar territory wherever you were going, and after that they took that away from us, so we couldn't have those connected communities. And this just kind of bringing that spirit back. And I feel like that's what they scared of, because you can't tell me they not listening on both sides, because they using all our talking points. They trying to add some of these talking points to their platforms, and they just trying to swindle their way in close back to us, and we not having it. If you not down with the cows, or you from the lineage, then we looking at you funny, and I'm cool with that. I'm looking at everybody funny. Where your people from?
Yeah, no cap. Is somebody talking?
No.
Oh, okay, I heard some echo. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, let's let Dr. Your Highness go. Come on.
Just wanted to say the babies are listening, they're learning. You know, even my kids, my children, the kids at the school, they starting to delineate. They starting to notice like little things like this person said that they was from the hood and they trying to talk like us and they not even from they they look, these kids listening. Don't think they don't be listening. They are our children are noticing and it is a new day. I'm hopeful for the future for our tribe. I really am.
Oh yeah, it's our time. We're in the age of Aquarius. Time for truth to come out. There's a lot of truth to come out. So much. Um, we, ladies and gentlemen, don't really know who we are. Um, I've stumbled upon some rare scholarship. Told our sister Wani, um, to indicate who we are, and the things I'm finding out are quite interesting. Number one, we have lineage to the quote unquote Egyptians. How is that possible? I don't know. For those who don't know, I used to work. I got a job when I went to Georgetown University. Didn't finish, but I got a job at the Smithsonian while I was at Georgetown, and start to notice things. You know what I'm saying, that were kind of hidden at Smithsonian. I'll have a room on it one day. But anyway, factually, there is lineage with the Black American and um, the Egyptians. Wani, who was it? Was it King Tutankhamun? The gentleman was related to
No, a lot of us are related to this King Ramses the Third
Ramses.
and
That's it.
the Amarna mummies. They tested
Right,
some of the mummies, and they have our exact haplogroup. I'll post it in there.
right. So where I'm leading with this is I've done some scholarship and found out a couple of things, and I'm starting to wonder, who are we really? You know, and we are the true inhabitants, the true inheritors of this United States of America. And there's a very exciting future waiting for us, is all I'm saying. I'm not going to really get into it on this space. But we have such an exciting future. We're walking into truth. And just to kind of close out this title with respect to the Jordan Penny verdict, I wanted to kind of put a pin in why um, the gentleman was lynched. I said it before earlier, but we have new people on now. The reason why can be found in Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's The ISIS Papers, Keys to the Colors. It can be found in two chapters. Number one, Guns as Symbols. Um, and number two, it says it in Ball Games as Symbols. Both of them talk about the same thing. They talk about genetic annihilation. So Dr. Welsing in Guns as Symbols said it should be made clear that black males' um, genital apparatus is most feared relative to the general apparatus of other non-white males because, in possessing the greatest potential to produce melanin, the pigment responsible for all true skin coloration, black males have the greatest genetic potential to annihilate global white minority. What Dr. Welsing said in that little bitty paragraph is a sheer genetics inside of the black male, and it's black female too. But the reason why black male is target number one is because the black female cannot impose sexual intercourse. Why is that important? That's important because the creator set things up in a way that no matter what the situation, to quote Dr. Welsing exactly, she said if she walked up to a man with an M16 rifle and said, "Have sex with me now," she could not force the man to impose sexual intercourse on her because the way the creator set up the brain is fear overrides sexuality. So the creator built us that if we're scared, there's a conflict. You can't get aroused when you're like terrified. That don't work. Some of my men in here are like, yeah, I agree with that. Well, so given the fact that men can impose sexual intercourse, and black men have the highest potential of genetic annihilation based on melanin content, we are considered a weapon. Now that weaponized ideology, that thought of black man as a weapon, hides in the subconscious of a lot of group of other non-black men. If you study many cases of unarmed black men being killed by police officers who are not of lineage, what do they generally say? I thought he had a what? I thought he had a gun. I thought he had a weapon. Well, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says he did have a gun. He had a gun that could impose genetic annihilation on a non-black lineage. With that being said, I wanted to kind of close this space out by reminding you that black men, that you are a target in this system. And the sooner we recognize and acknowledge that we are a target, the better off we'll be. We need each other. We need our women. Women, we need y'all to stand with us because, according to Dr. Welsing, once the black male is wiped out the way, y'all are next up. Checkmate. That being said, I enjoyed y'all today. Um, I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. I'll probably see y'all on Tariq's space a little later today. Any closing remarks, Wani? Hey, love,
Good
I am. I see
night.
you. Peace out, y'all.